Welcome to Dateline Health. This is Fred Lippman coming to you from Nova Southeastern University and the Alan B. Levan Innovation Center, which is a combined effort between Broward County and Nova Southeastern University. And today we have a very wonderful opportunity because we're going to be talking about ARC, A-R-C, and we're going to allow Kim Vassar, who is the Chief Advancement Officer of ARC Broward, to tell us all about ARC. So welcome, Kim.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here today and with our CEO, Julie Price, and tell you a little bit about our organization and our programs. Yes, ARC Broward's been around Broward County for over 67 years now. We provide a continuum of 21 different programs for children and adults with disabilities and others with life challenges and barriers to employment. We have everything from preschool programming and in-home parenting support programs to respite care, after school and summer camps, all the way up to programs that support adults and seniors, including residential options.
Well, that's a big job into a few sentences. Let me just tell the people what ARC stands for, what the three letters stand for.
So we're ARC, and I like to think of us as just like the ARC in Missouri, that where from one life part of the lifespan to the other, we're here to support family members through their continuum of needs throughout their lifespan.
I know that you have locations. I think you have more than one, correct?
Yeah, we have 9 locations in Broward County. So we have our main campus, which is located out in Sunrise. We also have 5 residential group homes located throughout Broward County, and we have a BARC housing, which is an intermediate care facility for 36 residents right next to NSU out in Davie. And additionally, a workforce space out in East Broward. And I like to say we have more than 9 locations because we are always out in the community doing a lot of work in workplaces, in people's homes. So wherever you need ARC in Broward, we can be there for you.
Let me ask you this question because, these questions come from our viewers. And the reason why I wanted ARC and the presence of your communication here to provide information to the viewers is because we've had a lot of questions that have come specific to some of the services that you provide, and people wanting to know what's going on. They didn't know about ARC per se. For example, respite care. It's a big issue. And you might want to explain what respite care is and the reasons why respite care is so needed, particularly in South Florida and particularly in the state of Florida, because of the situations that have brought us forward to allow us to live longer, but need some of the services which respite care gives. So go right ahead.
And I can start for sure, and maybe Julie's been working with our respite program for since its inception here at ARC Broward. But I will just say, I am a parent with a child with a disability. I am fortunate to be able to pay for childcare when I want to do something with my younger daughter, or when my husband and I want to have a dinner out, or when I need to run some errands. And there are many families that do not have that option. And so what respite care provides to families in Broward County is huge. It gives a breathing room. You can call it childcare, you can call it babysitting, but it's breathing room. It's a chance to get out of the home, whether that is for a job interview, whether that's to go to the grocery store, whether it's the other examples I gave of just needing a walk, right? A little break. And it's extremely crucial and critical. And it just only begins to touch the tip of the iceberg of needs and supports that families who have a child or children with disabilities in their home really need.
Well, who is eligible for that type of participating care?
I'll jump in and answer that, Chancellor Littman. It's great to be here. So thank you very much. Currently, we provide respite care, and there are other organizations in the community that provide respite care through the generous support of Broward County. And this funding stream allows organizations to offer respite to children and young adults ages 3 to 22. These are children who live in their family homes, and as Kim mentioned, and she described her own circumstance, allows families the opportunity to be able to do some things on their own to sort of re-energize their personal lives. But respite is really one of those understated services. It sort of just rides on the low end of people really recognizing what it is, because there's other deeper end services. But respite is a critical service for keeping families together, keeping families intact, and providing opportunities for families to get that little bit of break so that they can not be in situations where the family is stressed. There's a high incidence of abuse, higher than in the typical population and community, for children and adults with special needs. And a lot of that is because caregivers need that extra level of support. So we do provide respite care to under 200, just around 200 families a year. And we're blessed to be able to do that and work with families in any way we can. And adults can receive respite care through a state program called the Medicaid Waiver Program. And there's ways that individuals can access the Agency for Persons with Disabilities to be able to receive adult respite care. So the gamut of respite is covered whether you're a child or you're an adult. But it's a much, much needed service in our community.
Yes, and Ms. Price, if I might say, ARC really, and organizations similar to ARC around the state, used to have a great deal more support of tax dollars which comes from the general community. And I'm certainly aware of the fact that we have so many wonderful people that participate in supporting ARC. But I really think that, in today's world, the reason why I wanted to, and I think these folks want to hear this, is because we've had a number of comments from our viewers as to where do I get help? I mean, it's difficult, as stated by your colleague there. It might be an oversimplistic thing, like wanting to go to dinner with your husband or loved ones, or you want to go to a birthday party for your mom and dad. And what do? You need that respite care. But so I'm going to ask you at some point in time before we leave to give us the name and address and otherwise if folks want to be participatory in helping you present your programs. We never really do it directly, but I'm going to do it to you. How about that? So let's talk about really the children who need education. What is your part in ARC relative to making education programs available to these young people?
I'll actually let Kim speak to that because she was a recipient as a mom of our educational services. So she can talk about that from that perspective as well. So, yep.
And so you touched on a good point earlier, mentioning where do you go to navigate services? So I always tell people I work in this space. I work with an incredible organization. I've worked in nonprofit for 18 years, and I have access to people in the community that I can reach out to, and it was still difficult to navigate. So I always put myself in that frame of mind of what if I didn't have people that I could at least call to connect me to the right other types of people, and what does that look like? And I do think it is challenging to connect people to services. Not only at the, not necessarily at ARC, but just generally, right? Just navigating life with a child with a disability. So we have a developmental preschool. My daughter Kylie was fortunate to attend our preschool for 3 to 6 year olds. We are contracted with Broward County Public Schools, and so we went through an evaluation process after she did Early Steps, which is also a program that Children's Diagnostic and Treatment Centers administers for Broward County. And so went through an evaluation process at Broward County Public Schools, and through that was able to come to ARC Broward to receive intensive preschool support for her. What was incredible about our preschool program was it allowed Kylie to not only have a small class size with individualized support, but also receive all of her therapy components while she was here. She did get an individualized education plan as being a contracted Broward County Public School. And so she received occupational therapy, speech and language therapy, physical therapy, and was also then able to participate in our after school program, just allowing like a one-stop shop for her to be here throughout the day, as opposed to, I know so many people have to juggle picking their kids up and taking them to different therapies and different programs. And because she had an individualized education plan, an IEP, when she graduated, and it's funny to say graduated from pre-K, but when she graduated from our pre-kindergarten program, it made that transition to kindergarten in Broward schools that much easier, because we were walking into a scenario where she already has a plan laid out for her. She already has goals and therapies and a team that had been working with her. And it helped make that connection so much smoother as she transitioned to kindergarten.
Do you have any relationship with any physical therapists or occupational therapists that work with ARC, or is that up to each individual parent?
No, so we actually do, and we're blessed to have a relationship with NSU and a relationship with your therapy programs, and many of your students participate in externship opportunities with ARC Broward and later become employed by us. So we do maintain a team of occupational, physical, and speech therapists who are able to complement the educational services that Kim described. And that's an area of great need. It's not often our therapists provided opportunities to work with very young children. And when they get here and they work through that rotation and that externship, they really enjoy it. And it's a different experience than working in a PT clinic or working with a different population group. But helping kids in particular, take their first step, say their first word, grab that first pencil or pen is a remarkable experience for a therapist, especially a young therapist who's just coming out of school or who is still in school practicing. So we're happy to be able to provide those services to families and work with clinicians who are trained so well through NSU.
How far in their lifespan, I mean, in their young lifespan, do they get this type of care? I mean, I know we just spoke about pre-K, but now they're now in a public school system. So how far does that participation with all these healthcare providers, how far does it go relative to their lives?
Well, it's individualized, of course, as Kim mentioned to you several times. So when children are involved in the public school system, they go through the same evaluation process and have an individualized education plan, an IEP, like Kim mentioned. And so depending on what the team, which includes the parents, of course, determines to be the most appropriate, children are able to access therapies through the public school system to the extent that child needs that service. Many parents, though, do supplement their therapies that are provided at the school with their own therapies, perhaps through their health insurance or Medicaid, kid care, whatever that may be. So it really that journey looks different for every child and for their family. The other thing I did want to mention from an educational standpoint, Kim mentioned the youngest children that we have the opportunity to work with and touch and prepare for kindergarten and elementary school. But on the back end of that journey, when they have gone through elementary, middle, and high school, we also have a contract with the School Board of Broward County and operate a young adult program, or a transition from school to work program for individuals who are 18 to 22, again, in contract with the School Board of Broward County. So we touch people's lives in the very beginning of their journey, kids' lives at the beginning of their journey, and then at the very end when they're getting ready to move out and transition into the adult world. And so young adults will spend a number of years with us, but now that focus is different. It's not as much on academics or OTPT or speech therapies and so forth, but it's on careers and work experiences. So now we're working with young adults who we're preparing socially, vocationally, employment-wise, and we have partner businesses who we work with. So young adults who come to our School of Higher Education, as we call it, higher as in hire for a job and so forth. Those individuals will be ready by the time they're 22 to go out into the workforce and get some meaningful employment. And in fact, last year, the graduates of the program and the 24 participants of the program, at the end of the school year, 12 of those students already had paid jobs because of the experience that they had in the program that we were operating and they were participating in. So great success on the back end with older individuals who are transitioning. The transition points for an individual with disability and their family, whether it's when they're from 2 to 3, going from early steps to the school system, and then each of the milestones of elementary, middle, and high school, and young adult into adulthood are substantial. And that's really where families need the most support, is to make those appropriate transitions and be able to navigate the systems, because new players enter the game at all different stages. And so that's one of the benefits of being hooked up with an organization like ARC Broward. We can help families navigate those really complex systems and who those individuals are and how to get to those services in the quickest way possible.
With reference to that, it just came to my mind. I know you have a culinary school, correct? Right, and you want to talk a bit about that?
Sure, Kim. Do you want to talk about that?
Maybe I think you should.
All right. So we have what we call a social enterprise. So it's when a nonprofit operates a business that has a social mission. So there's several things that are unique about it. In the case of ARC Culinary, as our social enterprise is called, there's really 2 things that happen. So we have a 16-week entry-level culinary arts program for adults to participate in, and they come into the program because they have an interest in working in a food service career, hospitality career, whatever that may look like. And so they participate in this rigorous 16-week program, which includes both classroom instruction and instruction in our commercial kitchen. And in our commercial kitchen, which is the other component of our social enterprise, we operate a catering business or a catering enterprise. So, and catering is very traditional in catering in terms of, we cater weddings or other events, corporate events, and so forth and so on at our location that Kim mentioned in Sunrise, where we have the Andrew Borowski Culinary Arts Center and the Emerald Lagasse Foundation Innovation Kitchen. But not only do we do events at this location, we also partner with organizations in the community, such as Broward Partnership for the Homeless, which has 2 of our homeless shelters, Covenant House, House of Hope, and the Museum of Discovery and Science. And we prepare all the meals that are served to individuals who are participating in those programs. So combined, all those kitchens and our own kitchen, we are making and producing, including our students who are participating in the program, 1 million meals a year to our community. Good quality, fresh meals that are really changing people's lives who are participating in those programs, especially at Covenant House and Broward Partnership for the Homeless. So it's a large, robust business, and the culinary school is an integral part of that. And the students are ready at 16 weeks. They're ready to leave our program, and they're prepared to move out into kitchens and other food service entities in the community and make a real impact in other local businesses.
I know, and again, I take my mind back to my visible involvement years ago with ARC, And I just wondered, you still have relationships with the large supermarket companies, and also with, when you talk about culinary school, I know that you used to have a venue external of Sunrise, didn't you?
We did. We had a venue in partnership with the city of Sunrise. We managed they had a 340 seat grand ballroom. We don't manage that anymore because we have our venue now that we exclusively manage. And we also do catering in the community. So we have lots of partners where we will go to their sites or we will go to other venues where we are a preferred caterer. So we don't have that location anymore, but we are able to cater all throughout the community at lots of locations that are either corporate or or typical event spaces. And Chancellor Lippman, you've alluded to it now a few times, and I think you're understating. And we will always be forever grateful of the support that you provided to us in the mid and late 80s when you were in the House of Representatives, and we were up in Tallahassee spending time to build out the campus that Kim mentioned in Sunrise. It's a 9-acre campus, 3 incredible buildings, lots of incredible things happen here for individuals and families, and you were a major player in that. And we will always be thankful for your leadership in the House and you're advocating for us to build out what we have today. It's the cornerstone. This location is the cornerstone of what we do, but everything builds from it. And so thank you for that.
Well, you're very kind, but I've always said that in my multiple years of representing the people, I wasn't there representing myself, that it was an obligation to try to help people when they need help. And I mean, ARC was such a natural, as we were growing. You're talking about the 80s. I mean, people don't recognize the growth efforts that occurred in Broward County and now Palm Beach County, to where our population almost doubled between the early 70s or the late 60s all the way through the late 80s. And with that comes the complex population that you have, and it was such a need. It was so natural to be able to help because, I mean, I don't want to get into this is talking about myself. I don't want to talk about myself. But really the work that you have done and the continuation of participants and our other speaker today being there for the purposes of not for themselves, but for others. And that's really probably something that maybe we need to look at as a human species, to recognize that we need to take care of people when they need help. And that's all I can say about that. We're down to the last few minutes of the show. So, Kim, I'm going to go back to you and let you have your minute or a minute and a half and just say whatever you want to say.
Oh, that's kind of dangerous. No, but thank you so much again. I do want to mention one thing. We have an incredible relationship with NSU and the Card Center through NSU we, in addition to the services we provide at ARC Broward, we are also the administrator for the autism license plate for the state of Florida. We have the pleasure of working with Michael Alessandri and working to not only generate funds that support our organization, but generate funds that support organizations throughout the state of Florida, providing services to children and adults with autism and related disabilities. And I cannot stress this more when I think about the avalanche of needs and services that are yet to come for children that are aging and becoming adults with disabilities and autism. And while we are doing a great job, within ARC Broward and here in Broward County, I can only think about all of the needs and services that will be compounding on top of that when we have additional adults aging and and needing services as an adult. It was, when you think 1 in 36 kids are receiving an autism diagnosis right now, my daughter included. And I think about, well, what does that look like down the road? And how can we as an organization, how can us as a state and Broward as a community support families now to help prepare them for those years as an adult and for their lifespan. And so I just wanted to circle back and mention that, you know, with the license plate and with our great relationships with the card centers here at NSU and throughout the state, I'm excited at seeing not only people that you serve through NSU that are interested in this, becoming a BCBA or becoming a speech pathologist, and investing their careers into supporting individuals with disabilities and autism, and it makes me really hopeful of the future, just through all of the work and the partnerships between private and public institutions. And then I did finally want to mention that I encourage anybody who has questions, or maybe as a child that they're trying to navigate the system, or they're just looking for someone to find a resource, to reach out to ARC Broward, to find us on our website, arcbroward.com. And I'm always available to talk to a fellow parent, or anyone that's being diagnosed. We have several different events and fundraisers to get involved with throughout the year. We have our Miss ARC Broward pageant that is coming up in May. It is not a pageant in a beauty pageant sense, but it's a pageant for young women 6 to 17. It's really about building friendships, relationships, empowering them to shine. And they have the opportunity to showcase their immense talents and their immense abilities on stage at the Parker in Fort Lauderdale. It's a great event to invite the whole family to attend. It's a great conversation starter if you have a child, to talk about what it's like to have a disability.
Don't want to step on your words, but unfortunately we're running out of time. So I appreciate that. I want you to forward us your phone number and your address in case people want to communicate with you or obligate some of their treasure to help you along. And I want to thank you both. You are both to be blessed, because ARC is something which I believe was determined by a force of need which very few people understood. And I'm glad that we had all of these time together to reminisce over the beginnings and hopefully the future. So thank you both very much, Kim Vassar and Julie Price. We appreciate your help and bless you. Thank you very much. Folks, remember, we have this telephone number and address if you need to talk to us. My name is Fred Lippman. We come to you from Nova Southeastern University. Until next time, see you.